Welcome to our Neurodiversity Scholar Series with Zosha Zaks. Today I've asked Zosha to consider the question, what is neurodiversity? My name is Amy Accardo. I'm from the Rowan University Center for Neurodiversity. We're a cultural center within Rowan's Division of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. We have two aims. First, to situate neurodiversity in our DEI initiatives, and second, to value neurodiversity culture. So welcome, Zosha. It would be terrific if you could just jump right into the question, what is neurodiversity? And also share a little bit about yourself.
Okay, thank you. So a little bit about me and my background. I'm an autistic adult. I was diagnosed in adulthood. My professional training is as a rehabilitation counselor. I have worked with autistic and other neurodivergent teenagers and adults for a little over 20 years. Currently, I'm helping organizations, schools, and businesses develop neurodiversity friendly environments and practices. And I also teach disability studies courses that look at disability issues and autism issues through a social justice lens. And that's really, the heart of today's question, what is neurodiversity? It really informs just about everything that I do. So what is neurodiversity? Well, it's like what the word sounds like. Neuro has to do with the brain and diversity. So many different kinds of brains. In a way, we sort of intuitively know this. We recognize it. That's why one person's an accountant. They're really good at math, and someone else is a baker. They're really good at baking. And we also intuitively know that we need all of this diversity. Otherwise, society would be very lopsided. We would have a big problem if everybody was good at cooking, but nobody was good at building. We'd have a real problem. When we think about brain differences, we're not just talking about occupation. It's also the way people communicate, the way that they move around, the way that they do things, how they come up with, the ways that they're going to do everything that they need to do during the day. One question is, if we know that this diversity is natural for human beings, why have things been very difficult for neurodivergent people? In the disability community, we talk a lot about how the biggest barriers are in society. So, for example, it's not necessarily a huge problem to be a wheelchair user. The issue is if there's no ramp. Another example is if a child has ADHD, it could be very, very difficult and very uncomfortable to sit still at a desk in an elementary school all day. But the same person may find a very, very successful career in adulthood that requires a lot of moving around, such as professional athlete. So again, it's the structures and expectations in society that often cause the most trouble for disabled people. That being said, disability can be frustrating, even if we removed all the barriers that we can think of. Some things are just very hard to do if you're disabled. And also, not all neurodivergent people conform to that stereotype of having some super talent that they can contribute to society. Many neurodivergent people do need significant support in various areas of life. But when we say we want to value brain diversity, when we want to say we want to value neurodiversity, we don't have to dismiss the frustration and challenge. Often it's out of those frustrations that we innovate. So if we are disabled, if we're neurodivergent, we may have to come up with new ways to live together, new ways to work, new ways to learn. And so in essence, we need all this diversity in our societies. Otherwise, society would stagnate. The best example that I can think of is the Starbucks mobile app. So non-speaking and non-hearing people were having a really, really difficult time ordering a coffee. That's very frustrating, and we don't have to deny that. But you see, if we just did not allow them to be in society because they're abnormal and it's frustrating, we never would have gotten this great invention, mobile app ordering, which now everybody loves. So that's what we mean when we say, you know, diversity is really the main ingredient driving innovation. So the neurodiversity movement was started in the 1990s by autistic self-advocates who really wanted to challenge the idea that autism is this huge tragedy. They demanded accommodations and started to work together to remove those barriers in society. But they also demanded for respect for these different kinds of brains because of this innovation that this diversity brings forward. Now the neurodiversity movement has expanded and includes all kinds of neurocognitive variation and even physical variation. You know, people with physical disabilities are starting to demand respect too for different kinds of bodies, not just different kinds of brains. So we see a lot of different conditions under this umbrella of the neurodiversity movement, not just autism, but also intellectual disability, ADHD, dyslexia, other learning disabilities, mental health conditions, sensory disabilities, speech and language conditions, and like I just said a second ago, even physical disabilities of all different sorts. The rainbow infinity symbol has become the symbol of the neurodiversity movement because it really captures that spirit of inclusivity. So in summary, neurodiversity refers to this full range of human brain diversity. The neurodiversity movement does not deny that things can be very frustrating and very challenging at times, but oftentimes it's due to how our society is structured. And even when things are just frustrating and challenging, that does lead us to innovate and find new ways of living together. And that's why full inclusion is so important. Full inclusion is really necessary. This diversity is really necessary for the health of human communities.
Thank you, Zosha, so much for this really important information. I really especially liked when you noted that valuing neurodiversity doesn't mean dismissing impairments and challenges, because I think that's, you know, a misconception. So that's fabulous. Before we wrap it up, for people who want more information about neurodiversity, do you have any resources or recommendations?
Yes, I think the number one resource that I would recommend is to go read writings by neurodivergent people. There's a lot out there on social media, and meet neurodivergent people and hear from them about their experiences and their viewpoint on neurodiversity. I think that's the number one resource.
Thank you. Thanks again for working with us to create this series of video briefs around neurodiversity. The other video briefs with Zosha are on our Rowan University Center for Neurodiversity YouTube channel, or you can also check out our website, which is Rowan University, and search Center for Neurodiversity. Thank you.
Thank you.